Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel where I talk about whatever I want. In my last video, I mentioned that I wanted to upload different type of videos that interest me, that have my passion, that I can share with you when I'm trying to either teach you something or share something new that I have learned, whether it be financially or with the puppies, of course with my planner. I just didn't want to keep me in a planner box anymore. And like I mentioned also, it all came from that fiasco that we all went through with those planner companies. But anyways, as I find myself back into wanting to make YouTube videos, I also find myself wanting to talk about things that really matter to me. So in today's video, we're going to talk about budgeting. As we talk about budget, the word budget has a very negative connotation to it. Everyone that says, oh, I'm in a budget, or I'm in an extreme budget, or whatever, it'll automatically in our heads have the word has that negative connotation, right? But in reality, what budgeting means is just having a plan, a financial plan for your money. That's all that is. It's how you're going to plan for every dollar that comes on your hands. That's what budgeting is. And as a single mother, I could talk about budgeting day in and day out, because if it wasn't for budgeting, I would not be able to do the things that I do. I wouldn't be able to spend money the way that I spend it. I would not be able to travel. Well, right now we're not traveling much because, I would not be able to invest money if I didn't have a plan for my money. So let's talk about that. First thing that we have to do is create a goal, right? Why do we need to save money? Why do I need to be in a budget? Why? Your why is going to be your goal. So you have to keep you motivated, you need to know why. And when you talk about having a goal, you also want to write it down, because it has been it's a proven fact that whenever we write things down, we are more likely to obtain the goal that we're setting for ourselves. So get your planners ready and start writing down your goals. And if you have a plan, go right ahead. And if you have a plan that has worked for you, please share with everyone in the conversation in the comments down below so that we can all charm in the conversation. So having said that, after you define what your goal is, why you need to budget yourself, then you have to come up with a plan, and that is what you need to write down. So having a goal and writing down your plan should be your first step. Sometimes people will look at me and say, well, you kind of have your life already figured out for yourself. But it might look that way, but at the bottom of it all, there's a plan. It has not always been that way. I have gone through my struggles. I have made many mistakes, but I have also learned from my mistakes, and that is why I can now speak up and give someone tips on how to budget their money. One thing that has always been constant is my planning for my money. Right? Even as a teenager, I always had a plan. Whenever I got my paycheck, I knew how much money I made, and I also knew what I needed to do with that money, either paying the bills or... Also, I have to mention that having a budget does not limit you. It actually enables you to do more with your money. I'm gonna say that again. Budgeting does not limit what you are going to do. It enables what you're going to do with every dollar that you have. So after you have your goals, after you write down your plan, now it's time for you to execute. And you have to be able to do this constantly. You can't say, well, I am going to put away $50 today, but then when it comes down to having it taken out of your account, then you've already made other plans. It doesn't work that way. I'm going to share some of the things that I had done to enable me to have savings or to budget my money properly. And one of them, and it's probably one of the most important ones, is having an automatic deduction from my paycheck before it hits my hands. One of the first things I did was open up a savings bank account online. I don't know if you look at your statements from your bank every month, but they don't pay you much money for having your money sitting in their bank. But they're making money by having you have your money in their bank. I want to encourage you to go ahead and take a look at all the details that go into that statement. They're very transparent, but you have to pay attention what it is. If a bank is going to pay me 0.002 for having my money there per month, and if I find another bank that's going to pay me 0.5, I'm not saying that that's a reality, but it'll be nice. But if a bank is paying me 0.5 just for having my money sitting there, guess which bank I'm going to give my money to? And that's what I did. I went and I did my homework, and I found out which banks will pay me the most for having my money sitting in a bank account. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you've already seen how that has changed throughout the years, because I found out that by investing my money, I'm actually making more money investing the money that I have than to having it sit in a bank account. But that's a whole nother video. But if you want to start, one of the main things that you should think about is having an automatic deduction coming out of your paycheck the second it hits your bank account. So initially, that's what I did. I had a bank account that was just gonna pay me more than my actual bank to have my money in their bank. So I automatically, like, let's say if I got paid every 2 weeks, I had a certain amount of money just come out of my bank account straight to that other bank account, even before I got a chance to plan with that money. So that was one of the main things that I did. Another thing that I did, I started investing in CDs. With a CD account, you lock up your money for whatever time frame they offer. So let's say some of them are 3 months, some of them are 6 months, some of them are 12 months, some of them, whatever length of time they offer and works for you, then you choose that particular account. So let's say you will lock up your money for 3 months, and at the end of 3 months, you would incur an earning from just having your money there. So what I did with that, I would take the money that I made for having a CD, I added what I had made from having the money there onto the balance that I had, making it be a bigger amount of money, right? So let's say if I had $5, and it wasn't, but let's say that it was $5 that I had in the CD account, and I made 20 cents for having those $5 locked up for 3 months. At the end of the 3 months, now I have $5.20 or whatever. And at the end of that period of time, you can also add more money, increasing the amount of money that you're making from having your money sit there. We have to set our goal. You have to have a plan and write it down. Now we have to execute. You could have a deduction, an automatic deduction from your bank, go into your new savings account, and you can also lock up your money. At the end of that period, just add all the money that you've made and lock it up again to increase the money that you make at the end of the term. Okay, now another thing that I did, I invested my money. I always planned to have money, whatever amount of money it was. I started with $50, to be honest. And I would have this $50 every time I get paid to be put into my investment accounts, be it crypto. I could link the crypto video down below, or any stock that I had chosen at that time. I had chosen a recurring deduction from my bank account going into my investment account. So that worked for me. Every dollar that you make has to have a purpose. So if you're, I'm making it up, if at the end of the month you have $3,000 income per month, you know that you cannot have $3,600 in expenses, correct? So you have to limit yourself to what it is that you're making per month. You cannot go over that. You cannot count on a credit card to compensate for the money that you're not making. You have to live within your means. So if your monthly income is only $3,500, and you want to save $200 a month, your expenses cannot be more than $3,100, and that's the mentality that your mentality that you need to have. So you have to count for utilities, you have to count for things that are important, like groceries and rent, and the gas that you're going to put in your car, because transportation, food, and shelter should be like the three main expenses that you should always plan for, right? So you make a list and you say, okay, this goes to that, this goes to that, this goes to that, and this goes to savings. So if you have to cut something from your budget because you don't need it, go right ahead. What I cut from my budget that I, when I sit down every month and I say, oh my God, I'm spending a lot of money just eating out all the time. So if I went out to eat 4 times a week, yeah, I'll go out and eat 3 times a week. So if I spend $100 every time I went out for dinner, guess what? That's $100 that now I'm putting into my savings account. So you have to have that mentality. You have to say, where can I cut from my expenses so that I stay within my means and I'm still able to save? Because I'm going to tell you something, and a lot of people learn this the hard way, especially during this pandemic. Having a little cushion goes a long way. If you have no financial cushion, oh my goodness, when things happen, you don't want to be stranded. You don't want to have to wait and say, oh my God, how am I going to pay the rent next month? Or how am I going to feed my child? As a single mom, that's my worry. I'm like, oh my God, I need to give shelter, we need groceries, and I need to go to work. So transportation is a must for me. So those are the main 3 things I think about: shelter, groceries, and transportation. Okay. So once you have figured things out, sometimes, some people might say, it's really easy for you to talk about that, but guess what? Until you do it, it's not going to happen. It's that simple. All right. So every dollar that you make needs to be accounted for. And if savings is what you want to have, then you also have to think about that. If you want to save whatever amount of money, if there is some room for you to save money, be by cutting something out of your budget that you really don't need, do that. If there's something that's really hard for you to not live without, like I'm gonna say, when I was into my planning and everything just went to my plan. You know how much money I spent in my planner stuff? A lot of money. All right. And I was like, oh, I still have so much stuff, but I also give stuff up, right? I do giveaways. If a company sends me anything, I share what I have because I really don't need that much stuff. And when I move, that's when I really realize, oh my God, if I haven't touched this for a year, I'm not gonna need it. Now, another thing that you can do, guys, is use Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace has been to me, right? Facebook Marketplace has been a blessing to me. If you find yourself not using a piece of furniture, whatever it is, put it in the Facebook Marketplace. You'd be surprised how many people want what you think is garbage. There's a lot, there's a lot of ways to make extra money. So if you need a side hustle, go right ahead. If you're a crafter and you're able to make things, go right ahead and sell your art. Whatever it is that you're good at, go right ahead and make some extra money. If you're a crafter, you'd be surprised of all the things that you can do and create a little side hustle. Like with my pens, that just started because I wanted to have a pen that matched my planner. So when I posted a picture on Instagram and people were like, oh my God, it's so pretty, can you make me a pen that matches my planner? Of course I could. So then that evolved into just like making different designs into whatever I wanted, right? But all of that needs time and attention. This is a tip for moms out there. As a single mother, I had to learn, I always wanted to give my child the best. If a new game system came out, oh, my kid needs to have it. Or if a new phone came out, my child needs to have it because he's my kid, and why not? But then when these kids started growing up and he started asking for $80 games and, you know, hundreds of dollars on a game system, and to me, to be honest, like, all these game systems do the same, but if he wanted it, I was like, oh my god, here we are again, $80 per game. Do you know how I ended that? I started to pay my son for his chores. Yep. And believe it or not, that just cut all the asking, oh mom, can I have $80 for this game or whatever? And I'm gonna share with you what I did. Let's say, and it was only about his things. Like, if he fixed his bed in the morning, I paid him for that. If he cleaned his bathroom every day, I paid him for that. If he took the garbage out, I had a list of chores, and each item had a price. So if he had to, let's say if he helped me wash my car, I paid him $5. Right? So at the end of the week, I just added every single item and I gave him money. Physical money. I said, oh, if he made 20 bucks, I will give him like a $10 bill and like 10 singles, so he will feel that he had a lot of money. But you know, that's just a fun way to do that. But what that did slowly, not only it helped him with his math skills, but it ended the asking for $80 games. Because if he would come to me and say, oh mom, can I have this, mom? And I'm like, do you have enough shore money for that? Then he'll go to the shore money, and if he, let's say if he asks for an $80 game and he only has $50, I say, well, you need to work for $30 more to be able to get that, right? So he will go, and whenever he wanted to get a new toy or whatever, you'll see him doing everything. He will offer, can I do this for you, mom? Can I do that for you? And I said, yes, of course. And again, I will pay him for that. He knew that if he didn't have enough money to buy whatever, he wasn't going to get it. And it worked perfectly for me. So sometimes as parents, we don't want to say no to our children. We don't have to say no, but we have to be creative enough to come up with things to help us financially. Because we don't, yes, we work for children, and I only have one child, but what about those families that have 4 or 5 children? Start paying your children for chores, and you'll thank me later. You're welcome. We all know that we don't have a tree of money growing in our backyard. So we have to do with whatever money we are making. We need to stay within our limits. But by staying within the limit, it doesn't mean that we can't get the things that we want. All that means is that we need to plan ahead so that we're able to get the things that we want. And that is all. Having a plan for every dollar that you make is gonna make that possible. So I don't know if any of this is gonna help anyone, but if it does, please let me know. You can follow me on Instagram. You can leave a comment down below. Let's have a conversation. Let's compare notes and see, because what works for you might work for me and might work for somebody else. So leave a comment down below and let me know how you work your budget and how that helps you. So I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.